Okay, hey, just a minute or two late here today. I'm Nick Hodges, the developer advocate at Rollbar, and I had an interesting time last weekend. Learned a little bit about how Rollbar works and how it integrates into different kinds of things. So I'm working on this side project, and the side project involves an Angular front end and a back end with Nestjs. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about what Nestjs is. Nest.js is a Node.js based framework that's built a lot like Angular. Uses a command line interface, uses modules, and all different kinds of things like it looks a lot like Angular, basically, which is one of the reasons I like it, because I'm a big Angular guy and I like Angular. So I uh, I decided to add Rollbar into it since, hey, I'm a Rollbar guy. I'm a Rollbar dev advocate. I got to use Rollbar. Of course I would. Why wouldn't I? And I was pretty pleased to discover that it was fairly straightforward and easy to integrate into Nest.js, even though we don't have an official integration for it. So I thought I'd start up this stream and actually have you see how this all works. So we're gonna do that, and I confess I haven't rehearsed this. I didn't practice this, so that's the beauty of these Twitch streams is you never know what's going to happen. So let's switch over to the our trusty Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to create a Nest application. And the way that Nest application works is, I think the first thing I need to do, let's go to documentation. Let me go over to the documentation here. Whoops. Turn the browser back on. And you can see I just got to run this command right here, npm i-g, which will enable and install the command line interface for Nest. So I'll switch back to this, and I will run that command. Let's get rid of that $sign. We don't want that there, do we? I gotta sneeze. Goodness, I'm sorry. Excuse me. So as you can see, it's installing Nest.js, and that should go smoothly. Let's hope so. Let's hope it all goes smoothly. And we'll get it installed, and then we'll create a new application. Once it's done. And Nest is really cool. It makes it really easy to build APIs, backend APIs, very, very quickly. Okay, Nest is installed. So now I should be able to go Nest, and it should say, yes, I know who you are. I'm just making sure it's all installed correctly. And like so. There, it says Nest is not recognized. That's not good. I don't know why that would be. So I guess we're going to find out. So if I type Nest new Nest demo, it's going to say, don't know who you are. And that seems a little unusual because I did just install it. But let's try it again and see what happens. It didn't have any problems installing. So let's try it again. Install globally the Nest.js command line interface. Why this wouldn't work, I don't know, but we'll find out. Try it again. It's installing again. I can quick pop over to the documentation. It should allow me to use Nest right off the bat. Don't know why that would be a problem, but of course it is because I'm streaming. The fact that I'm streaming makes it a big problem, I know. But here we go. Let's see. make sure. Oh, what's going on with my computer's misbehaving. It hopefully this time computer's misbehaving. Something's going on. Come on, there we go. Let's see if it recognizes Nest this time. No, it does not. It's not recognized. Let's try adding. Let's try a. Let me fire up a PowerShell thing here. You can't see this, but I'm firing up PowerShell so I can see if it'll work inside of a new, brand new installer. And the answer is it's thinking. It's thinking. Suddenly things have just slowed down to a crawl, of course, while I'm streaming. You never want that to happen, but of course it is happening. And nothing is happening. Oh, there it is. Now it says it's good. So let's go back over here. It actually recognized me as it recognized it in the PowerShell thing, but why it won't recognize it over here is probably have to start a new shell inside of let's see, Nest, Rollbar Nest. I am very loath to restart my Visual Studio Code, but that's what I'm going to do. Hi there, it's me. I'm going to restart Visual Studio Code, and then I'm going to have to figure out how to re-show it to you guys by picking out. No, that's not what I want. Well, this is really, really frustrating. Off to a not a great start, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. My mouse is just, something's taking over my computer. So Visual Studio Code. We're going to go settings on the Visual Studio Code. And we're looking for Visual Studio Code getting started. There it is. We're back. You can click OK. All right, let's see what happens now. Let's see if I go Nest. It still refuses to accept who I am, and that Nest is a thing. So we're gonna go to CD. We're gonna do some surgery here. CD. Let's go back. Come on, it's got to know that Nest is a thing. All right. Well, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna share my. We're gonna share a new window capture, and we're gonna call that PowerShell, because it's working over in my PowerShell. So we're going to go to a Windows PowerShell, and I'm going to share that with you fine people. And hopefully you'll be able to see it. Yep, you should. So now the PowerShell is going to go here. And look, if I type Nest here, I'm going to go CD /users /rollbar Nick. Should do that. Now it will see Nest inside there, as we can see. So now I'm going to create a new Nest project. I'm going to go Nest, new, Nest demo. And that should create and scaffold, as they say, a brand new app. We're going to use NPM as the package manager for it. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about how to set up and Nest. It's pretty straightforward and simple. But we will take a look at it when the chance comes. And we'll take a look and see I'm going to go back over here and while it's installing the package manager stuff that needs to get done, I'm going to cd to rollbar Nick, and I'm going to start get that ready to look at, because we're going to want to poke around in there. And the npm installer is installing Nest application and doing all the magic stuff. Hopefully, maybe this will install the new project. And in fact, I hope you can't hear my dog whining. He's not very happy, but that's okay. Thanks for installing Nest. Yay! Now let's see if Nest is here. Let's give me a directory here. Let's cd Nest demo. Let's give me a dir here. And you'll see that the packages are there. That's good. So I'm going to hide PowerShell right now. If I can get my mouse is seizing up for reasons I don't completely understand. And we've got our trusty browser here. Or, I'm sorry. Now we've got Visual Studio Code. Okay, I'm a little discombobulated. My apologies. But we'll make it work. We're going to make it work. So we're looking at Nest. Let's see if the Nest demo will run. npm. Come on, keyboard. Let's work. Okay, this might have to, I might have to reboot my machine and start back up again. We'll see. Run start : dev, and that will actually fire up and run my Nest server. So we're starting compile mode, and it should just show me a bunch of setup stuff, 0 errors. It's a raw, brand new thing. There's one thing mapped, and that map is going to go to hello world. So I will hide Visual Studio. No, I'm sorry. I will unhide the browser if I can get the mouse to work. My mouse is seizing up. Unhide the Visual Studio, the browser. Where is my browser? Where are you? There's my browser. Thank you. Okay, so now we're looking at the browser, and we're going to go to trusty localhost 3000, which is where this is running, and it says hello world. That means we can see our browser. We can see our application, which is good. That's what we want. You can't see it, however. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay, so you can see that. It's pretty small. Let me make that bigger. There we go. Hello world. You can see that now pretty well. So we got our Nest application up and running. Well, let's integrate Rollbar into it. That is going to be fun. So let's go to Rollbar projects, and we should be able to see this here. And I'm going to select new project, and I'm going to call this the new project Nest demo. And I'm going to leave the time zone where I am, and I'm not going to worry about email notifications. We're going to keep things nice and simple here today. I'm going to create new project. And what I want is a node project. Where is node? Let's see. Search. How about we search? I search node. Now, this is not strictly speaking a node project. The application is built, a Nest is built on Node, but what I need to do first of all is install Rollbar, and so I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring up the PowerShell thing, and I'm going to install Rollbar. Whoops, I need to go to my PowerShell here, and I want to install Rollbar, which I'm doing. That's an awful small to read. I'm not going to try and update the, there we go. So Rollbar is installed. And now I'm going to grab this code, go copy, and I'm going to embed that right into my application at the very, very heart of it. And so I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code here, turn off my PowerShell so you can see that. And I am going to go to here, and I'm going to open up my application. I'm going to open a folder. I'm going to go to C:\users\rollbar_Nick. I'm going to go there. I'm going to select the Nest demo folder. And that's the folder I'm going to go to. And we should be able to see my application. Trust the authors. Yes, I trust them. Of course, I trust myself. So here's our application, and I'm going to go to the main thing here, which is the base main TypeScript file. I should mention that like Angular, Nest is built using TypeScript. And I'm going to go right in here, and I'm going to post some code. Let me go grab that code. I'm going to grab that code real quick. Hang on, code. Where are you? Come on, buddy. Okay, here we go. I'm going to grab this code. It's coming, don't worry. It's the importation of Rollbar. And I'm going to grab all this code, and I'm going to include it in. Oh, now the kitty's coming around. Everybody wants to get in on the Twitch broadcast. All right, so let's see, where are we at? We're looking at the code. So I am going to paste in a whole new chunk of code, and then we'll go through it. There we go. Okay, I am going to take this line of code out because we don't need it. We don't want it right now. And this number, I'm going to have to get a new one. But for right now, this is the code that I'm going to include. And I'm going to include also the Rollbar access code that was given to me when I signed up for Rollbar. Let's minimize that. So you'll notice that this one has an access code here. I grab it, I copy it, I'm going to paste it into this code here. So this is the special access code that uniquely identifies my project that I'm creating inside of Rollbar. So now let's go back to the browser. Let's hide Visual Studio Code and everybody. Whoops, not me. You don't want to hide me. I'm the star of the show. And we can see that now integrate your Nest. So we've done this part. I'll go back and talk about it. We integrate your SDK, and it should work and update itself once we receive some errors, once we do some errors. So let's make some errors. Let's bring some errors into the business. Okay, so now we need to import iNest application. So let's see what we can do about that. Add import for iNest application. So yes, validate pipe is another call that we may or may not need. I'm going to comment that out for now. If we got to come back and show it, I will. So we're going to console log here. We're going to do a bunch of Rollbar information here. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this string here. Whoops. I'm going to take this string here, and I'm going to put it here so that it shows up through Rollbar, like so. And then I hit Control S, and Control S will automatically redo the application. So let's go to the trusty PowerShell. And you can see, whoops, where's my Rollbar demo running? Where did I have it running? My guess it was probably running in one of my windows here. Well, is it still running? Is my local host still running? Let's see if I hit F5. It is slowly but surely. No, I must have done something too. So let's see. npm start, npm run. Come on. You can do it. My computer is not happy, but we'll keep her going. Keep her moving. The show must go on. And we're gonna run it there, and hopefully it'll fire up my application. And now the Rollbar errors, or anything that Rollbar decides to report. There we go. Good. Okay, so it's working. So now I should be able to go to projects. I should be able to say, watching for file changes. I've integrated my SDK at the very base level of my application, my node application as it were. And I should be able to see errors in my dashboard. And there it is. Application is running on this port, which is great. That's exactly what we wanted to see inside of the Nest demo. In other words, the application is running, and boom, we got a message from Rollbar to that effect. And that message happened about 33 seconds ago. So that's great. That means we've got Rollbar up and installed and running inside of it pretty quickly. Could have been quicker if things weren't quite slow on my computer here, but that's fine. I apologize. But okay, so let's take a look at some of this code here. First of all, we imported Rollbar, requiring the Rollbar package. And then we create a new instance of the Rollbar object, and we pass it this configuration information. And this is the most basic configuration information there is. Can't be much more configuration information than this. This number here is going to go away, but it's unique to my application. I'm going to delete this project afterwards, so you can't steal my code, steal my application. But it's going to capture uncaught exceptions, and it's going to capture unhandled rejections. So all those things, that means everything by default is going to come through Rollbar. So what we want to do, whoops, I'm not keeping up here. There we go. So you can see that we keep the uncaught exceptions, unhandled rejections, and whatnot. And then now we have this universal app, we have this constant Rollbar that we can use anywhere in an application as long as we import the main.ts file, which is fine. So then the iNest application, this is all Nest stuff here, but you'll notice that I call rollbar.info down here. And let's let it be known that the application is running on whatever the URL for the app is, which is great. So, and we saw that in the browser, that the app was running, or we saw that in Rollbar, on the Rollbar interface. So it's all good, it's all running. But you want to see exceptions get handled. So let's go to the app controller. And here's the get hello app controller that went to get hello. And we have an app service, which returns the string hello world. So let's do this. Let's call export. Whoops, that's not what we want. We want to just have a memo called problem. We'll just call it problem. And it will return void. It's not going to return anything. But what it is going to do is it's going to raise an HTTP exception with the message you are forbidden. a bunch of exclamation points. You got to have a lot of exclamation points. That's right. An HTTP status dot forbidden. There we go. So that'll raise an exception for you. And it doesn't like that. Not raise. I'm a Delphi developer. It's throw. And HTTP exception. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Come on. Oh, yes, I did mean to include new. Sorry about that. All of my Delphi code is coming back to haunt me now. And expect equal. Oh, and then we see I'm a Delphi developer, but that's fine. It's all good now. That should be good. We should see that it's rebuilding. I made the changes. Should see that it's rebuilding the application, and it's running. All good. See, it's running on the good old port. And then we'll go to localhost 3000, which is the client application. Hit enter, and by default, and we don't see 59821. I wonder why it's doing that. Why is it not on 3000? 59821. There's the hello world. Now, watch what happens when we go here and we go problem. We're not that far yet. We need to go back to the module, to the controller, I'm sorry, and we need to create a get event at get, and we need to call it, that's the default, we need to call it /problem /: void, because we're not going to return anything from it. And then we're going to call this .appService.problem, like so. And that should raise problem. We'll give it a name there, like so. And an identifier is expected. Oh, this goes up here. What am I doing? Control X. This goes up here. There we go. And I'll go ahead and do string. We'll see what happens, because it seems to say the decorator function return to type is void. Oh, goodness. What is the problem here? Oh, see, it's my Delphi. There we go. And we'll just go ahead and make that void. It should work. Should be pleased. Okay. Woohoo! Slow and steady. Gotta think in TypeScript. I'm thinking in terms of whatever. Now, if I save this, it should rebuild. You see it's rebuilding down here. There we go. And now we'll make sure it's running. We'll do the hello world again. And come to Papa. Oh, now it says it's on a different port. That's why. It changes ports every time. That must be by default. I should go through and make sure it does port 3000, but this is the bill. So now we're reloading. 56514. What the heck is going on there? Oh, you need to see the browser. Yeah, I'm not showing you the right browser. Hide Visual Studio Code. So look, I am trying here to do the 56514 localhost. There it is. Hello world. Now, finally, problem. Okay, look, it gives you status code 403 message you are forbidden, because that's what Rollbar does. Rollbar makes you see the status 403 message you are forbidden. So it gave you a status code, raise the exception, it goes through there, and now we should be able to go over to here, and guess what? Here's something curious. This error is not showing up. Now you're asking yourself, why is that? Why is this not showing up? Well, I'm going to tell you. And that's because Nestjs has an exception handling process. And it will handle the exceptions internally, and thus Rollbar will never see them. So what we can do is we'll hook into that exception handling process, and we will have that error show up in Rollbar. So next step, we need to go, and I'm going to grab a little code from my mail, which should be right here. And I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to create a new file here. I'm going to go File, Source. I'll just create it right here, and I'm going to call it allException.ts, like so. And I'm going to paste in a bunch of code. And I'm going to go back and let me paste in this code, like so. And we should, you're not seeing that, are you? Yeah, I'm not being very good about keeping the right thing posted up there. So here's what this all exception does, is it implements the exception filter interface called all exception filter, like so, right? It grabs a bunch of information about the error, and because the errors are generally tending to be HTTP errors, we're going to check to see if it's actually an instance of HTTP exception. If it is, we're going to grab the status, and we're going to set up an error message, and we're going to return the status in the response with the status of whatever our status is and the JSON code of the error of this object, this JavaScript object. And so we're going to return that. Otherwise, we're just going to return a response without the status message. We're going to assume that it's some kind of other error. And by default, that error doesn't necessarily have a status value, so we can't assign that, but it does have a status code and information like that. So if status code is not defined, then we'll just go with 500, which is fine. That works out. So basically, Control S, it should recompile. Now, one of the things we have to do is we have to tell the application about this universal override of the exception method. Okay, so I'm going to go to the documentation. I'll give you a look at that, by the way. I'm going to hide Visual Studio. There we go. I'm going to go to the exception. I'm going to go to exception filters. Okay, that's what we want. We want exception filters, and the exception filters code here will show you how to integrate that into your application. So we're going to throw a standard exception, so that's fine. Exception filters, that's fine. It shows us this message that we showed before. And then we're going to raise an exception, and we're going to do custom sections and all kinds of things like that. So here's the exception filter part. And this is similar code to what I just pasted in, and that's all great. But here's the part we need, and that is down here. Keep it coming. Keep it moving. Use global filters. That was the line I commented out, but yeah, I need that. So we're going to go to main, and I'm going to go here. I'm going to go use global filters, but instead of new validation pipe, I'm going to go new all exceptions filter, like so. And we're getting an error. I wonder what the problem is. Transform is declared here. What is the problem? Oh, not global pipes. Oh, interesting. That's a global pipes. So we'll go, this is global filters. and it says, aha, all exceptions filter. So if I click on this now, you'll see it takes us to that class, and you can see now we're going to get some specialized information inside of our thing, particularly the time of when it occurred. That'll show us and give us proof that that's exactly what we're doing, is we're handling the exception ourselves. So now if I go like this, restart, now we're on 64777. I'm going to come up here and go to 64777, and we should see hello world here. Takes a sec. We're not seeing that. Why aren't we seeing that? The application is running on HTTP. Maybe it's because it's HTTP and not HTTPS. This site, localhost refuses to connect. Well, isn't that curious? I don't like that. Oh, Earth to Nick. 64777 here. Hello world. Now we're going to call problem. We'll have the exception raised. We get the same message here, which is the 403 message, you are forbidden, 403 is forbidden, and all that stuff. But if everything is going according to plan, oh, no, it's not. It is. It should. Hang on, let's refresh, keep refreshing, see what we get. Let's see if I put in the all exception TS message. I did not put, oh yeah, I put rollbar exception in there. It should raise the rollbar exception, and it's not. And we're wondering why that is. Maybe if I hit save, and then I go, now we're at we're changing numbers every time. I wonder why that is. I gotta figure that out. That must be because I just took the default instead of setting the port value. So that's there. That should call the exception. And all items, it's just not showing up. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong. That's certainly not your problem. It is my problem. So let's make sure that all exception is correctly being called. The class is all exceptions filter. Let me make sure I did all exceptions filter here. That's correct. Let's change this to 3,000 right there. That'll make a difference. And app is listening on 3,000. Now I'm not going to have to frickin' change it every time. That's good. /problem. Like so. Oh, now it worked. And you can see that it worked because the timestamp is in here. And that's good. So now we're going to go back, and as you can see, Rollbar has reported on this problem. And that's great. And I can go to the occurrences of this problem. I can click on the occurrence, and you can see I get a complete, I get a little stack trace going on there. All kinds of information about, where the bug was. All that information is really cool. And it took a while, but we've now got Rollbar reporting on any exception that occurs inside of our application, wherever that application may occur. So that's what I wanted to show you today, was how you can pretty easily integrate Rollbar into Nest, into a Node app-based application like Nest. Took a little longer because I ran into some trouble, but that's okay. You've now seen me do it, and it should be available and able to do. When this is going to end up on, what do you call it? YouTube. So some of you may be watching this on YouTube. Thank you very much. And I'll put a link to this code so that you can kind of see how it works. And I will make it available. And thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it very much. Y'all come back now. Bye.